Even if in winter things tend to freeze, we got the world monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. is the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koala chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Ici, ce n'était pas assez. On a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ouh là là.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted beliefs or...
So Ozzy is taking control of BG's keyboard, and he's trying to speak English. It's pretty good. Not bad for a cat.
Okay, for the record, thank you for the cover, but that was actually me. My hands weren't aligned right on the home row. So what I thought I was typing, I wasn't actually typing.
Now I want to
Is-
picture Ozzy being like that cat meme
Okay.
that you've probably never seen but heard of. Do they
Hmm.
describe that to you when you get like GIFs? Like I know you can't see a meme, but do they describe GIFs?
The black cat where he starts out typing on the laptop and at some point he ends up just banging all over it with his 2 paws.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, no, nobody really describes that. I just get other people to do it for me.
Well, fair enough. It's something. I was never really sure about how the readers really work, or like how often they work, because I know that probably has to do with like the program and what they can and can't read.
Okay. So,
Mhm.
my quote screen reader is
Mhm.
just the Seeing AI app. And
Mhm.
basically, it reads colors, it reads handwriting, typewriting, if there's light or no light, and money. And then I use my Apple iPhone, and on the photo, if you have your voice to text on, you can point it at stuff, and it'll go one face, small face to the right, or one cat to the middle, or sometimes it'll describe a scene. But most of the time, it's just colors. And so if I take the context of I'm pointing it towards the ground and it says green, that's grass. It hasn't told me it's grass. I just know it's grass. And so I take it the context of where things should be and the colors and how much color and how wide of the area it is or tall of the area it is, and then I just assume the object. And if I get it wrong, somebody will fucking tell me. So that's how I do it.
Okay.
There's not actually a screen reader that describes in detail stuff that it's looking at.
Okay. Yeah, I always wondered about that because, like, you know, you go from one page to the other page, and you get pop-ups, you get ads and shit like that, and I was like, that would drive a reader nuts, I would imagine, if it did that.
Oh, absolutely. That's why when I'm reading it, it'll go advertisement, and then it'll say a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, next.
Even the blind can't escape the advertisements, guys. They're gonna come for you.
No, I can't.
I could
They
just
do,
imagine
because-
what it would be like for the deaf community.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god, that would be so unbelievably patronizing but funny at the same time. We gotta find ourselves a deaf community kid. And I mean that with love, because don't ever piss off the deaf kids, because they will fuck you up. I don't know when that rumor started, but I've always thought it was amazing. Deaf kids are actually pretty nice. I mean, I don't doubt that some kids probably have a resentment bone. Everybody's got one of those. But most of the ones I knew were really nice. But yeah, I did have a...
I'm trying to spell Asian right now, and I keep forgetting how to do it.
You. That's how. I'm kidding.
Exactly.
I'm going to hell. I've already established that a while ago. But I've been sort of low-key laughing all day. Do you want to know why? I know I mentioned it in the chat earlier, BG, but I'm still reeling over the fact that Amber's lawyer Elaine actually mentioned that umbrella guy again. On their closing statement, she references a rando on the internet. I get he's got some presence. He does. I mean, that is somebody who watches him on occasion. But the guy bases his channel off of dad jokes and just believing that the system is a little bit balanced against the men. If that had influence on the crowd, I would be shocked, because most of the people who go and follow him and then look into him and are like, oh, he's kind of a little bit MRA, usually leave afterwards. Not because they disagree with him, but because they're like, oh, actually, we have something in common.
Like how most of Elaine's closing argument was basically pointing to Camille and saying everything she said, or everything she just said, is bullshit.
Mm-hmm. And I love Camille's response to that is just to list everybody that is apparently lying. Everybody's lying
I
except for
thought
Amber.
she was transsexual. I thought she was transsexual.
Who?
Cryptic said that.
Yeah, but I don't know who he's talking about, though. Amber Heard or Elaine? I think she's just very European. She's got that very heavy, angry European look. And I don't mean that in shade. I'm just saying some of the women I've met from there always... There was a hit and miss. Some of them were just really strict, and you kind of had that Helga feeling from them. You know, that little bit of terror that if you piss them off, they'd tan your hide.
Yeah, but she sounds like she's from Boston there.
Yeah, she could be. Doesn't mean her ancestors aren't European. She just has that look. I'm just saying I would be polite with her. I'm not saying I would respect her, because just because you've done things doesn't mean that you are owed my respect. But, you know, I wouldn't be mean to her either. I just think she bit the wrong cow. I think she took on Amber's story, and I think she believed a lot of her bullshit. But, like, as it's going along, I bet you anything she's pushing this stuff because she doesn't want to lose. And it's her job. Of course she doesn't want to lose. It's her job. But after the way that Amber stuck her own foot into her own mouth yesterday and admitted that she's the one who wrote that co-op. She wrote it. She wrote it with anger. Like, Johnny is this big, powerful man. I want to take him down. She did it on purpose. It was done with malice. That was the case. And this thing where...
she admitted that, just as far as admitted she wrote it, that was actually, you know, when they first put her on the stand. At one point, somebody said, "Why are you here?" She said, "I'm here because of an article I wrote." Well, right there, she admitted that she wrote it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't stand with somebody like that. For one thing, she's using abuse to abuse. That's disgusting. She's abusing the system. That's disgusting. She's admitting to abusing the system. That's disgusting. She's abusing a human being in front of everybody, glorifying in it, acting like this is joyful fun. And that's just disgusting. There's nobody who's going to be, like, happy for that kind of grandstanding. And I know that some of the Americans I've talked to said this probably isn't going to change the system, but you know what? There's a little bit of Lucky Charms donations!
Lucky Charms donation.
shit.
I want Amber Heard to stick her foot in me. Any opening would be fine. No lube required. BG can be the director in our love movie.
You better make sure you got more money than that, though, because she'll sue you for, like, beating her or something.
Oh, God. Please tell me you're not beating me with a penis or something.
No, Big Drill wants to stick Amber Heard up his bum.
Will she fit?
There was this one time in South Park where they managed to... I can't remember. What's her... Trucker, are you here? You remember that one? What's her... Paris Hilton. They shoved Paris Hilton up Mr. Slave's ass. He was like, woo, woo.
Oh my God, just as a donation that I'm like, yeah, I'll totally do that.
It was based off the Lemmy episode.
I want Amber Heard to stick her foot in me My opening would be fine. Any opening would be fine. No lube required. BG can be the director in our love movie. Oh, yeah, I'll totally do that. No
That
problem.
that is true, Big Dro. It wasn't you. It's always kind of implied that it's you, though. I'm sorry. That's true. It was probably your
So,
hidden cousin twice removed. But just a reminder, you've challenged yourself.
so Jen, where did you watch the Amber Heard thing at? Was it on Reikada by chance?
No, I actually watched the body language guy while he was doing it, just because he was a little bit more willing to pause for certain things and just he's not a lawyer. Like he admits outright that he's not, but he does read the language of the people who are talking. Like,
Yeah, fair
it's
enough.
kind of like I understand that it's kind of like wires and stuff like I can't remember the terminology for it. When they wire you for testing like lie detectors. I know it's not
Mhm.
always a for sure thing, but I've learned a lot from him on how to kind of read when people are lying, and that's why I like watching him. But he's very fair about pausing and stopping and talking about it, and uh there was just he was slow enough with it that I could catch things like that. And I keep coming back to Tuck. Like the minute she talked about him and it got recorded, I was like, oh man, I would have fired you myself, lady. But Amber Heard's gonna hold on to you. You know why? Because she can never be wrong. Ever. She's just
I think the
proven
best,
to everybody she's not. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the best line I saw throughout the whole day today was, oh God, Amber Heard's girlfriend
Yeah.
right now. Um, apparently her girlfriend's been tweeting and managed to get a YouTuber taken out of the courtroom or set it up to where he was never allowed in. And they were mentioning who it was that did it, mentioned her by name. And the comment they had made was, well, who's the girl that did it? Oh, it's this girl by this name.
Ooh.
Like, who's that? Oh, that's Amber Heard's girlfriend. Oh, you mean she's a lesbian when there's not a rich man around.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Reikada
Well,
and them were not being nice to her.
I kind of got that feeling from her anyway, because she seems to be the type to like to be in charge. And one of the things that we've talked about before on different channels and on this one is that one of the communities that does have a lot of cases of domestic abuse, lesbian community, because women like to feel like they're on top too. There are some women who like to be in charge, and if Amber's kind of the personality type that she is, yeah, I could see her being the type to look for somebody who's a bigger abuser. Like, if you're not going to be bigger than me, then
Oh,
I'm going to destroy
well,
you. Go ahead.
well, Amber's previous arrest
Mhm.
for domestic abuse
Mhm.
was against the girlfriend.
Well, that's just it. That's what I mean. Like, it's not just one girlfriend.
uh-oh.
Told you there was a
Lucky
challenge.
Charms donation. No, it was me, Big Dro, who want Amber Heard to clean my prostate with her foot. If she had any toe infections, I might be screwed though, since I won't be able to go to the doctor for that creamy white discharge that looks like the ranch BG loves to eat. Sore.
Yeah, you don't want to
Wait,
read that one, BG. It was Big Joe. He's trying to hide his sins. And he's worried about Amber's toe being infected, which I would think it would be. I mean, she poops on the bed, you know.
God, creamy. What a
That was fun for me today. I've asked Tug at least 3 times how it feels to be living in Amber Heard's head, and whether or not it smells just a little bit of the poo. And he hasn't responded yet. I'm still hoping that he will at least once. Because it's gotta stink in there. She can't be a good
Yeah.
landlord. She's filthy.
Some people like it filthy.
Yeah, I don't know. Tug seems like a pretty decent guy. I think he'd go in there and be like, well, you know, I mean, this is funny for the memes and the keks and stuff, but, you know, I think I'll go back home. He's got cute kids. That's what I mean. He keeps getting quoted. He kept getting quoted in that case. And it's one of those things where he tells dad jokes. part of his thing is he tells dad jokes. Tug is a dad.
Dad jokes are popular.
They're very popular. And so they keep saying them in court. I don't doubt that Johnny Depp has no idea who the fuck Tug is, but he laughs because he's a dad. You know, the lawyer starts laughing. Sometimes I don't know if the judge has ever laughed. I really got to rewatch some of this case because I don't do cases. Like, I don't do lawyer shit. Like, I appreciate the lawyers who do this on occasion because they at least explain some of it. But I find it a little bit toxic because there's a lot of talking down. Like, lawyers do a lot of talking down. I know they're heavily educated, but I'm just not for that. But the end of this case was what I was waiting for. And I'm
Yep.
waiting at least another, I don't think they're going to finish today. It might not come out until Monday.
No, they released them about 2 hours ago
Did they?
for the weekend. Yeah,
So who won?
nobody.
Yet. They have decided to go home early, get dinner, and come back next week and tell us all what happened.
I figured they probably would. And honestly, that's okay. It gives
By the way-
people, go ahead.
By the way, Jen, it's a holiday weekend down here.
We just had ours. It's all good. We had ours. We celebrated
Yeah.
Queen, what's her face?
Victoria.
Victoria.
Although we call it May 24.
Well, we would.
Does Alberta call it May 24?
No, we still call it Victoria Day.
No,
See, for us,
They
Let's
would
hear it.
really like us to pull away from the Queen, and I think the only reason we don't is to snub them. Alberta's a little bit bitchy that way, we will snub you. But honestly, I don't really have any loyalties to the Queen either. Like, that's not really a thing. I like her. I think she's, pretty cash as far as a famous person who's a queen goes. But I got nothing else
do we care
than
that she
to
was
say.
born again?
Hmm?
Why the fuck do we care if she was born again?
Because they didn't get it right the first time.
Okay.
To be fair, I'm going to throw shade at a different Brit, though. A different Brit. And I
There's
think,
different Brits?
oh yeah, I think England should celebrate because, next week Batten was talking about the Queen is starting her Jubilee. And to be fair, it's probably going to be the last celebration that she really has. I'm all for that. The old lady wants to go out enjoying her life. You go, lady. But one of the things she wanted was for Harry to be there. She would really like to see her grandkids. I don't like it. I don't like elder abuse. I just don't. That's one of those things, like, I get that she doesn't have the right to it, and it's hard for them to just bring them because she's still the queen. Like, that's stuff that has to be arranged really, really, really carefully. But I'd like her to be at least able to see her grandkids. But she's got her Jubilee. They were invited. Megan doesn't want to go because she's not popular over there. So she ran over to Texas just so she could be like, I'm there for the kids. I'm a mother. I know how it feels. And she's just dancing on the graves of children like a sick fucking bitch that she is. And England can celebrate because you know what? They can enjoy their time without her because she's gross.
Oh, there's a lot of celebrities like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, no one's actually gone there, though. Virtue Signal, yes. Matthew McConaughey lives there, and he hasn't gone. And he has Virtue Signal.
Okay. How many people aren't dancing on that grave right now? Like,
Everyone
let's be
is.
fair.
Everyone is.
Exactly. Everybody is. There's a few that aren't, but essentially,
I couldn't watch the news
Everybody is.
anymore. It was just every time they'd interview someone, and then they'd go and talk to the presenters, and it was so swarmy. And I was just, you were just so kind to these people, and now you're like this. I just like, I wanted to watch not because of them. I wanted to watch because of the parents, because they're grieving. It's my way of grieving with people that I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird way of going about it. I will watch it for like a few minutes just so that I can meet the faces of some of the parents, just because like I couldn't put myself in their place. I mean, you have kids, so I bet you distance
and
yourself.
the problem is that those kids in that classroom that died are the same age as my two.
And that's just it, like.
And all I have to say is there is no policy or fucking law that'll fix it at all. So stop it.
No,
There is nothing because the red flag laws, they didn't enforce it. The regular law, They didn't enforce it. There are already so many goddamn fucking laws and they just weren't fucking enforced. And even then, there was a bunch of cops outside and they didn't go in. Why? Because they were waiting for police shields. So anybody that's sitting there going, gun control.
But there was a lot of
or-
things
Wait, wait,
beforehand.
wait.
Oh, go
There's
ahead.
the thing, though.
Mhm.
There's the thing, though. Police did go in at the very beginning when they first got there to get their own kids
Their
out.
own kids out. Yep, they went and got their own fucking kids and then said, yeah, we're not risking our lives for yours. And I'm like, for the love
Saying
of
it-
God, I'm someone who has been like, don't defund the police. And now looking at this, I want to be like, defund them. Defund
Yeah.
all of those fucking police. Like, fire them all
Yeah.
right now
Mhm.
because they stood there and let it happen. It's not their fault the kids are dead, but
Well,
they
we're
let
the-
it happen.
They
Well, the
kind of
screwed
did.
up thing about it is they always talk about how there's no, or like you mentioned, there's no law that would have stopped it. Thing is, there actually is a law that actually prevented other people from being able to stop it. The
Yep.
law that says gun-free school zones.
Correct.
Well, there's a lot of things that I've noticed since we went to school that have changed. And I know it doesn't fix all the problems, but what it did do is it slowed it down significantly. For one thing, the schools were closed, like they were locked. Once school started, you weren't getting into the school unless you rang the door. Someone had to let you in. You were a guest or you were someone there to be doing work on the building or something. You didn't just go into a school. You know, even up to high school, it wasn't just like you can just walk in. And
Maybe not for you.
well, you know, it
Maybe
did
not
change.
for you,
It did
Jen.
change
Maybe
though.
not-
It did change
Nope,
though.
Not in my town. It didn't. In my town, it didn't.
Yeah.
Yes, there were open doors always.
Yeah.
And why we didn't just walk out and nobody, like, why did we even stay in class? There was no security. The doors, matter of fact, they'd swing the doors open and put a brick there when it was hot because it was fucking hot. Like,
It just-
we
it-
didn't have any security at all.
Because, like, that's how they knew you were tardy. Like, if you had to knock on the door to be let in, that's how you got a tardy list.
And our high school,
Yeah.
same thing. No locks on the doors unless school was finally closed. They didn't lock the schools until 5 o'clock at night so that no one would bust in at nighttime. And I mean, I broke into my high school a dozen times, didn't get caught, broke a window,
Like-
but hey, that's another story for another day. We
Yeah.
didn't have that.
Like, I get to a certain
But-
extent, like, it has to do with fire and stuff. But, like, if you know that everyone is in class, if you know that there shouldn't be people in and out of the hallways, if you know that people shouldn't be going in and out of the building, maybe they can lock the doors.
Well, that's the thing. It's that people will say, well, what about fire exits? I'm sorry, but doors that open from the inside but lock on the outside. That's a fucking thing where you push them open to get out, and when they close, they lock behind you. That's a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And that would be a great idea. But if you say any of that, well, you are just the party of gun violence, aren't you?
You know, it's
Don't
just
say
it's a little simple thing, you know, and even if you had the ability to, like, say between classes, like, you know, between switching of classes, the doors lock. Like I said, if you're late, you get a tardy. You get a tardy note. You know, you do technically still get those. As far as I know, I don't know, maybe it's changed.
Yeah, now my son's autism school is different.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because the autistics are all fucking flight risks, it takes 2 people to
Mhm.
open and close a door. One on each side pushing and holding a button.
So there you go. Like,
You can't just open it with one.
like I know it's not the only answer, but it maybe is a suggestion because it does slow things down. Like, at that point, how are you going to open up every single door? It slows you down, and it makes it easier for cops to catch them if they do get into the first layer of the school.
But that doesn't even, because this guy was shooting at people
Mhm.
for 12 whole minutes before he entered that school.
Yep.
And all I have to say is, remember that this is Texas.
Mhm.
Think about it for a second. It's fucking Texas. Not one bystander with a fucking gun didn't pull it out and shoot him between the eyes. Where is
They're
the
not
court?
allowed. because they're not allowed to have the guns on school property.
I know, but at that point, I would say fuck it. You know, at that point, I would say fuck it if I get arrested. Fuck it, because what about the men that were standing there, the cop men?
Mhm.
Every fiber of your being, if it's not vibrating to just fucking
They spent more
tick, tick,
time
tick,
keeping the
boom.
parents from going in to save their kids than they
Correct.
did like saving the kids. And I felt for their parents so bad. You know, like I would be in the same boat. Like, do I have to actually beat up a cop to go rescue my own kids because you're not doing your job?
I would have fucking ran, broken away from him and ran. I wouldn't have talked to him. I wouldn't have ran him, but gone.
Yeah.
Because nobody is stopping me from getting to my kid.
I
But
would
honestly, those male cops,
Yeah.
how was it not every fiber of their being
Mhm.
fucking twitching, not fucking bolting for a way to separate him from kids? Their
And-
job is to get in the middle of the gunman and the kids. I'm sorry. You can say policy has changed and it's not. It is.
Mhm.
Period.
Police in the U.S. do not have the dirty secret is police in the U.S. do not have an obligation to protect you.
I know.
Yeah, but again, if policy says they didn't have an obligation to protect you, again, as fucking men, why
Yeah.
was not every fiber of their being going, oh, fuck it, and in? Why did it take, what was that, a border control guy run in and take care of this? Why did not one of those cops go, you know what? Fuck policy. Fuck it. Fuck policy.
Why did the FBI agent who had prior knowledge that it was going to happen keep his mouth shut?
Because there's fucking cowardice going around. Fucking cowardice. And people need to cut that shit out. Okay? If you're a man and there's somebody about to walk into an elementary school with a fucking rifle, it should take 10 cops to stop you from running in.
I give kudos to that one dad. Took 6 cops, 6 cops and a taser to stop him. And the rumor was he was armed.
Correct.
Ye-
Correct. And that's what it should take. And that should have been every single man standing there, every single fucking police officer in fucking uniform, not in fucking uniform, any fucking man that was there. That's what it should have taken. Is a taser and some pepper spray.
You know, this is a low
That's what it should
blow
have taken.
that I'm gonna make, and I know that Trump's run wasn't perfect either. But you know, the one thing I remember not missing from his run was the lack of school shootings. Like there was shootings, sure, no school shootings though. It was nice. 5
There
years
are.
of kids not being shot at.
You know what would really help kids being shot at? You know what would really help? White jackets. White straight jackets. Institutionalized fucking you got mental health problems and somebody fucking notices?
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but you the restrictions on helping fucking schizos and fucking loonies. You've relaxed those so fucking much that people that actually need to be segregated from society because they're a fucking danger to themselves or other people, you've let them walk around with no fucking supervision, okay? This kid was cutting his face for fun. He should have been in a fucking straight jacket.
I
Period.
just wanna clarify too, because I don't like saying too stupid of shit. But David Hogg wasn't during Trump time. That was prior to, wasn't it? Because that was the last one I
idea.
remember. Was the one with that asshole.
I think David Hogg was during Trump.
Was during? Okay. Was it?
Yeah, wasn't he the one that was going against the other Sandy Hook survivor that was pro-gun?
Yeah, yeah.
No, Parkland. They're him and Kyle Kashuv. They're both Parkland survivors.
Yeah.
But the
Parkland.
thing about the difference between Kyle Kashuv and David Hogg though was Kyle Kashuv was actually in the school when the shooting happened.
Yeah, David Hogg
David
was
Hogg
riding there on his bike.
Yeah, he was at
Yeah,
he was at
and
his
Kyle
house.
was barred from Harvard, I think, because of his pro-gun stance on that.
Yep. Well, there's the thing. when Parkland happened, Kyle had already been accepted into Harvard. His
Yep.
acceptance was rescinded,
Yep.
and when his acceptance was rescinded, it was offered to David Hogg.
Yep.
So
Because David
that's
Hogg was more palatable.
well, yeah, David Hogg was palatable and politically correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what's very interesting is the news said that he was confronted by an armed personnel at the front. He wasn't. There was none there. They said there was, but there wasn't. There was nothing impeding his entry to the school.
The thing, the scuttlebutt on that was he was confronted, but whoever confronted him didn't stop him. Didn't even try.
Apparently, the cleaner record is no, he wasn't confronted. That was one of the pushed out lies from the fucking media. That he was confronted, he wasn't. And so there's a lot of questions that need to be fucking answered. And of course, they're like, hey, Biden, you gonna investigate the cops for this? And he's like, no, because it's not a black kid. He didn't say that obviously verbatim, but that's pretty much what he meant. No. And he's like, those people in uniform there, they're brave for being there. And I'm like, listen, a first responder is not brave just because they showed up. That's not bravery.
And anybody who can sit there and hear the screams of children and not physically just twitch like crazy isn't really doing their job. I'm sorry. Even as I'm not a cop, I understand that. I'm speaking out of my ass as somebody not trained as a cop, but as a regular person who wasn't even related to those children. If I heard screams like that, they would have a problem with keeping me out because my instincts are overloading my brain.
Correct.
Like, I'm hearing
so
babies crying.
They're like, these first responders were so brave. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you don't get you were so brave for showing up. That's not, you are not owed. You are so brave just for showing up. You're getting paid to show up. So we shouldn't be congratulating you to pat on the back just because you fucking showed up. You're doing your job. Congratulations. Like, I'm so sick of this shit. The brave men and women that showed up as first responders. Bravery was not in their vocabulary that day. I'm sorry. They don't get the bravery stick for that.
The brave man who did show up was the father that the police had to tackle and tase.
Correct.
To stop him.
And the other guy that finally said fuck this and ran in and took care of it.
Like,
yeah.
And for the record, this, you see? So it doesn't take a good person with a gun to take out a bad person with a gun. Actually,
it did.
In that sense, it did.
Mm-hmm.
We had to wait for him to arrive.
But just think, if one of those teachers had been trained properly on how to use a gun safely, it could have ended sooner.
Or if one of
The
those
police
cops had any stones.
Actually, I'm willing to bet several of the teachers in that school were actually trained to handle a gun, except there's only one problem about the whole mess. They're not allowed to have the gun.
Yep, no gun zone, which makes it super easy because I can tell you if there was a gun zone in there, they would go, do I really want to go to a school and get shot back at, or would I rather go to a Walmart that says no guns in here and shoot that up with the risk of no one shooting back at me, you know?
Yeah, entirely.
Because they think like that. They really do.
My bigger question is how the hell did a kid just past 18 years old, like days past 18-year-old, manage to purchase one of the more expensive AR-15s on the fucking market?
$5,000.
Yeah. That brought up a lot of questions too. Like, how did a kid who's living with his grandmother get that kind of money?
I'm assuming because he shot her, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if it's because he took her money.
Yeah.
He got the gun several days before, though.
So maybe she just discovered that he took her money.
It's possible.
Because, I mean, and here's the other great one, which, is kind of an old horse and it's kind of dead by now, but no father figure. Is there a correlation between druggy mom, no father figure, problematic mental illnesses, and school shooter? There is. How about the fact that there's already red flag laws and they weren't enforced?
Mhm.
And
I
yet,
don't think Texas has red flag laws.
well, there were red flags of laws that, like, he was known to cops. There was something about
Mhm.
something they did not enforce. I might be fucking up what it's called, but essentially, you know what I mean.
He was
There
known.
are. He was known. He was known, and the thing is, I kind of agree with something I heard on another stream this morning. When it boils down to it, Facebook can be given some of the blame on this one, because the thing is, when it comes to Facebook, you say anything that may, make somebody on the left grip their pearls, and you will be banned so quickly. But you sit there and say, "Oh, I just shot my grandmother in the face." Nobody can find your shit for days.
Yeah.
Something's got to be said about that.
Well, and I mean, there's so many people on Facebook, it would be difficult, irrational, and probably argued unreasonable in the court of law to say that they monitor every little fucking thing. Now, could they tweak the algorithm? Probably. Are they actually going to do it? Probably not.
Facebook does monitor every little thing.
Yet it took days for them to find his posts.
Yeah, well.
So
Actually,
I
no,
don't
it
think they
didn't take days.
monitor
It took
every
minutes
post.
after he started shooting.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't think people saw it right away because they're not monitoring it as it goes. They are monitoring it, but I don't think every single post from every single person as it's posted is it being observed. There's just too many of them for that to be plausible. The math wouldn't add up on that.
With his age group too, they might have just seen it as edgy.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate because a lot of kids would say that and just be meaning it as an edgy thing to say. Gross, but edgy.
I mean, that's it. I mean, there's a lot of things people say that, if you were to try and censor that, that's as grotesque as what he put, that people would say this is getting dangerously close to the First Amendment.
But the thing is, though, I don't disagree with them looking into it, though. It's how far you look into it. Like, if you can tell that this person is shitposting.
Yeah, but you can't because you don't personally know the people that you're viewing if you are somebody on that board. You don't know the context of who that person is. I'm a sarcastic person, okay? For me to be like, I wouldn't pee on you if you're on fire. How would somebody at Facebook know that I'm shitlord?
I think the kind of people who would post that stuff already do get taken down. Like, as much as we're throwing shade at Facebook, like, if you were posting something that was really that threatening, like guns or like violence, like acts of violence, they do have rules against that. They do take that shit down, don't they?
Yeah, but not always in real time.
Yeah, I know.
And I mean, I'm not shitting on Facebook. I'm actually, sadly enough, defending Facebook.
No, you are. I kind of am too. Like, that's kind of what I mean. Like, the thing with throwing edgy in with like real stuff is like, it's really hard to determine, is this real? That's kind of why you have like private people do that kind of shit.
Well, not only that, but again,
Yeah.
you're driving very dangerously close to First Amendment stuff that we would be bitching about if it was in any other context.
I'm not banning it. I'm saying look into it.
Yeah, but observing that would be you're spying on people because you think they're posted, like, because First Amendment. Now you're spying on them.
Is this a private post, or are we talking about stuff on the internet? Because once you put something on the internet, it's no longer really private. You do know that, right?
No, it's not. But if you have someone specifically monitoring account, you could say that.
Like, I know Facebook's a little bit different in that regard. They're not really Twitter.
Well, no, but not only that. But let's say Ben Shapiro, okay? a lot of people would love to take jabs at Ben Shapiro. So you could say, well, they could have watched him and watched his account and then notify the authorities. Sure, but on the flip side of that, they could also false flag Ben Shapiro and saying that he's saying something crazy and call the police and whatever else. Like, that's why it's going near First Amendment problems, because then you get someone who's biased, who's going to automatically be like, I'm flagging this because I hate this son of a bitch. And this one needs to be named
listen,
and changed.
BG, you gotta stop, because the stuff that I'm talking about is far different from what you're thinking of. Like, you're still back on the edgy stuff. I knew a guy who was military who would send me pictures of, like, military wounds. They are not legally supposed to do that. That's what I'm talking about. People who post, like, illicit stuff. Like, they do.
Yeah, I know
that's what I mean. Like, people.
I know what you're trying to refer to. I'm just saying, on the flip side, it can also be easily abused. While we have good intentions for going Facebook, you should be doing these things. At the end of the day, it can also be easily abused. And it's that part that I hesitate on going, let's do more. Let's do more social media, because the minute I say let's do more, somebody who I don't agree with is going to flip that gun back at me and fire. And I learned that lesson a very long time ago from Trucker. It's all his fault.
Slippery slope.
Thank you, Libertarian.
You're welcome.
Don't arm a gun you don't want pointed back in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Good lesson.
Well, that's the whole thing about the whole thing. When you point a finger, you got 4 pointing back at you.
Exactly, and so I would be very concerned that with good intentions, we would put pressure on Facebook and Twitter to start watching more for this kind of stuff. And on the flip side, it's used against people in nefarious means, and now it's our fault that this has happened because we pushed it for something as grotesque as a school shooter. And now we have the opposite problem, where it becomes censorship when it was never meant to be censorship.
Well,
it was
no,
only
that's
meant
not what
to
I'm.
be,
Yeah.
you know, like, it's not what you're meaning to, right? It's not what I would mean to.
Well, no, it's like back when we had the Las Vegas shooter. Like, they knew so much weird shit was going on with his account. Like, that's why there's so many weird theories on that guy, because his Facebook went so weird. It's not about them spying. It's about the fact that, like, they should kind of know what this person is like on their account. Like, your system should be able to kind of be like, well, this person's kind of like this. Well, when they start going off, they should know that kind of stuff. Like, the thing with this kid, I'm sorry, with the stuff that he was posting, a lot of edgy kids do that, and then they grow out of that phase and never do anything. Or they go to, like, one of the riots and hide amongst everybody else who's doing the same shit. Like, what are you gonna do?
One thing I want to know.
Yeah.
One thing I want to know that's weird, or one thing I definitely want to know is this. So he bought the guns legally.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he sailed through the background check system. You know, the system that the Democrats say don't exist, right? But he went through the background check system, passed the background check system. Now, I kind of know the reason why. Okay, because whenever I put through whenever I go to purchase one myself, I end up getting put on the hold list, right? Which
Isn't that because of somebody with the same name as you?
It's because I have one of the more common names in America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard this one.
Yeah. So I always end up getting put on the list. Now, the thing is, 9 times out of 10, if you're just turned 18 and you're going to buy your first gun on your 18th birthday or within a week after your 18th birthday, 9 times out of 10, you're put on that hold list. Why was he that one that did not get put on the hold list?
especially since he was known to cops.
Yeah.
How did he even coast through the background check when he was known to law enforcement?
Well, known to law enforcement is one thing. When it comes to stuff that he's done that would prohibit him from purchasing a gun, nothing like that has happened yet.
Shit, he was shooting people with a BB gun outside of his window. How does that not disqualify you from getting something that can actually kill somebody when you're already firing at people?
Did he ever get convicted of it?
I don't know. All I know is the cops were called while he was doing it. Whether he was convicted or not, or they caught him in the act or not, that I don't know. But
See,
considering it
the-
happened several times, I'm
The
curious
weird-
as to why there wasn't a note there going, shoots people with gun. Be careful with this kid.
Now that I don't think that's something that would go on the system. Now, what kind of hits me weird about it is, see, if he had been convicted, or if he had been charged and convicted with something for the BB gun, yes, it would go on his juvenile record. But the question is it a charge that would actually transfer over to his adult record? Because for the most part, a juvenile record, the day you turn 18, everything, it's a clean slate as far as criminal record.
Ah,
So
fuck,
there's no
that's
guarantee.
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, like shooting a BB gun at people, you should have to pass some kind of psychological exam to be able to get a gun. I feel like that should be a prerequisite to getting something that can actually kill people, because you don't point a gun at anything you don't intend to kill. So I feel like once you failed that,
Yeah, but
there should be a point where you have to pass a psychological exam for that to be expunged so you can
At
actually
least
buy
for
a
the
gun.
first time. If it's your first one at the very least. Or at least every 5 years or something. Like they do that kind of shit for driver's license. Like they check to make sure that you're still like once you get to a certain age, they check to make sure you're not
every
senile, don't
time
they?
you go through that background check every time you purchase a gun.
Right.
Yeah, so then
Okay,
how did
so-
it fail? Because I feel like
It
what
failed.
he was doing was a prerequisite.
I think it failed because as far as the juvenile/adult record, he didn't have anything on a juvenile record that would bleed over.
Damn. Like I said,
This is
I
this
feel
is the
like
unfortunate. This is the unfortunate thing when it comes to this kind of stuff is the fact that there's a very, very fine line. I mean, it's almost very fine line to where it's almost non-existent to be able to pass something that will prevent somebody like him from doing this and start trampling all over everybody else. There's a
Yeah,
very fine
and
line.
that's the problem, because then you can just deny people because you decided you don't like them.
Right.
I do want to stand by what I said though. Like even if he didn't have the guns, like say it was a different world and the kids weren't using just guns to do this shit, they would find another way to do it. When you
They would.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well,
Don't want to overtalk you.
They would find a
not
they would find a different
necessarily.
way.
I
That
don't
pickup-
think
that pickup truck
somebody
he
would.
drove in-
I don't think somebody would find a way to stab 19 kids in that span of time. It would have
No,
taken
but they
a
could
longer.
find another way. Like building a bomb back in the day was the way to go about it, and kids used to do that kind of shit too.
Well, driving a that pickup truck he drove into the ditch outside the school.
Yeah.
Well, who's to say he didn't just drive that into the front? Or it's an elementary school, lunchtime recess. So
Fair.
I'm not.
And I mean, that would have been more efficient. He should have just done that, but he didn't. Like, I don't think gun control is the answer.
No.
I'm just curious as to the fail safes and how they weren't fail safes.
Because the fail safes were never fail safes. The stuff they keep instituting, calling it a fail safe against this, fail safe against that, it's never fail safe. All it's ever going to do is control, put more control
Law-abiding
on the people.
citizens.
Right. I mean, because the thing is, everybody says, "Oh, we need more gun control laws." Why? It's already illegal to kill somebody.
Yeah, it's fair. Like that's why I'm not on the side of pro gun control laws. 3 years ago, I might have been. You know, before I met everybody, you know, blind trucking and all that. Before I met that, I might have been. I might have been one of those people that actually bought in to that emotional argument of just take away the fucking guns. Like fuck. You know, I probably would have been that person. But understanding that A, there's more guns in America than there are people.
Well,
And B, just because you make it illegal doesn't mean someone who's already doing illegal shit isn't just going to get it illegally. And now you can fucking print them. So you need better alternatives than just the emotional. Well, fuck it, just take all the guns, because that's never going to win. But considering fail safes are there, if they are postured just to control law-abiding citizens from the constitutional right, then that means they're fucking useless, and why do we even bother?
Exactly.
so like a case happened, I think it was yesterday in Toronto. And I'm blaming a little bit about the article because they didn't write it very well, which is why I didn't keep it. Like, they didn't do justice to the story, they left out stuff. But apparently in Toronto, they had a guy pulling the scare move because he was walking around with a pellet gun. And they shot down 4 schools, set out a bunch of the cops. They never even bothered to confront the guy, they just shot him. I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, I agree with confronting him.
I do.
Well, I agree with stopping him and confronting him.
No, I agree with them shooting him.
Do you even know if the gun was a real gun? They just shot him.
Well,
They didn't
you
even.
said you said it was a pellet gun.
They didn't find that out until afterwards. They just shot him first.
Oh, okay. So they didn't know he
Question.
was carrying a gun.
Mm-hmm.
How do they not know he was carrying a gun? A pellet gun's kind of
Because
big.
somebody said that. They were like, oh, we think somebody's walking around with a pellet gun. So he did have one. Fair enough. He did have one. But they just shot him based off of what somebody said. They didn't even confront the guy.
See, the first question I would ask on that one, was it a pellet, an air pistol or an air rifle?
Most likely an air rifle. Most pellet guns are longer barreled.
Air
Yeah.
pistols as well.
Yeah, there are
So,
pistols, but they're not as popular in Canada as they are in America. Most pellet guns and BB guns are designed to look like rifles just because they look cooler. And also, they're easier to spot by law enforcement.
Well, they did, yeah. So the question, so that being the case, then, is if he's walking around with an air rifle, if it looks like a rifle at all slung over, why didn't the cops at least stick their head out the window and say, "Okay, right, what's your deal?"
That's what I
don't
mean.
just
Like,
shoot 'em
I
without
get
warning.
like stopping him and stuff, but like, as far as they know, and I don't agree with the joke. Like, I do agree with people having the freedom of expression. We just talked about that, but it could have just been a guy being a dick. We've had that
Play
happen
stupid
before.
games, find out. You can be a dick, but if you're going to be a dick with something specifically that risky, play fucking stupid games, fucking find out.
So you want to
Okay,
live in
you
anarchy,
can be.
or not anarchy?
No, I don't want to live in anarchy, but when it comes to firearms, even pellet guns, if it's just a guy walking around being a dick with one, I'm sorry, that you don't be a
I'm not
dick
saying
with it.
shooting it. I mean walking around with it, just being like, ah, look what I got. I got one. That's what I mean by being a dick. He's just walking around being a walking meme, and people are losing their minds, so the cops shoot him. You're
Well,
okay?
it is quite illegal to walk around with one, period. Unfortunately, unlike America, we are very stringent about that. Like, we make it so that we have to lock away our guns and ammo in separate cases, in locked cases, in separate cases. Where if somebody's robbing your house, it's going to take you longer to get out your gun than it is to be able to save yourself. So really, the guns aren't going to save you. Like, unfortunately, that's Canada. And I would be hard-pressed to think that those officers didn't see it completely. Didn't confirm it before they shot. And if they did confirm it and then shot, I'm not that upset about that. because you up here, you just don't. That's not something you do up here. We're not America.
He
It's
wasn't
never been
shooting anyone,
something.
Red. It's a completely different situation. I'm talking about a guy who's just being a dick. It's like I just brought up the Las Vegas shooting, right? Did you know there was a guy the very next day who just decided, you know what, I'm going to be a dick and just walk around with my guns. That's all he did. He just went to a restaurant, walked around with his guns, and everybody lost their minds. Was it a dick move? Yes, it was a dick move. Did he need
Yeah,
to
but
be
that's
shot for it?
America.
No, I get that.
That's
But-
America, where that's culturally acceptable. Up here,
We've had that
We don't
happen
do
before,
that.
BG. We've had people do that shit before. They didn't get shot. The police went up to them and were like, hey, can you fuck that off? And they did. We didn't just shoot people for
I
it.
seem to I remember last. I was gonna say I seem to remember last. Was it last year where the police up there almost shot a woman who was dressed up as a stormtrooper because she had a Star
Oh,
Wars blaster.
Jesus. And it wasn't almost shot a woman, they did shoot her.
Yeah.
I remember that. That one was retarded.
Like, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I get making sure that he's not actually shooting someone. Absolutely. If you think for 1 second he was going to shoot a kid, then poo-poo. He's done. But, like, up here, we have so many people who don't know shit about guns, BG. That's what I'm actually afraid of. That we have so many people who don't know shit about guns that we're just going to have police officers who are just going to go pew, pew, pew.
That is actually what's happening, and that is correct. And that's why, after we're reeling of
Mhm.
19 kids dying, don't play stupid games. Like, I really don't feel sorry for him, okay? Maybe the cops shouldn't have shot him, but do I feel sorry for him? No, I really don't. Because he played a stupid game.
He was expressing his freedom of speech, BG.
Carrying a gun around in Canada is not freedom of speech. It's illegal. And two, Canada doesn't have freedom of speech. That's America. So when you're up here, you have to abide by our culture and our fucking laws. Don't bring American culture into Canadian law because you'll lose. This is not America. We're not used to having guns be paraded around because you're being a dick. And so if something fucking happens, again, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, do I think he should have lost his life? Probably not. Do I feel sorry for him like he's a victim? No. He made a really stupid decision that day.
You don't even know what his message could have been. His message could have been, you guys don't even know the difference between a pellet gun and a real gun. And you don't know that because you're okay with just shooting someone without actually knowing what the deal was about. I get telling him off for doing something illegal. Maybe the guy is just... There's a lot of Canadians up here who don't know all that shit too, you know? Like, I
But
get
it's the-
that they
but
shouldn't
it's
have
the
a gun if they
perfect time.
don't.
But it's the perfect time where he decided to fuck around and find out in that time.
Yep.
There are dumb
There's
people.
a time. I agree with BG on this one. There's a time and a place for everything. When you know something like that just happened and everybody's
Oh, I agree
Yeah,
with
everybody's
that. I agree with that.
sphincter is shriveled to the point, yeah.
But to shoot a guy
There's a
for
time
it?
and a
For being stupid?
Like I said, maybe it wasn't the right call. I don't know
Now
all
here's
the
the
facts
question.
about
Here's
it.
the question. They shot him. Did they kill him?
Yes.
So he is dead.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. In a case like that, ask a couple questions, see what happened. You know, do all the investigation, right? If they shot him without actually having a reason to, you know, if they just said, "Oh my God, that looks like a gun," bang, you know,
That's what they described in that story.
That's what they described, but we don't actually know what happened.
so I'm sure there's going to be investigations that show different things.
Probably not. People like it when people kill people with guns, so unfortunately, we're probably not going to get it.
No.
But until I know that they just blindly shot somebody, again, he took a risk, and it was the wrong risk. His message could have been anything. His messaging could have been help the poor, save the children. I don't care. That's not how you do that. And we don't have freedom of expression up here. We don't have freedom of speech. There are restrictions on that up here. We are not America. And so, no, he did not have the
seems
right
like
to
you
do that.
giving into that, because we do still have a charter. I know that charter is a piece of shit at this point. Like, we crap on it all
We
the
have
time.
a charter, but that charter doesn't say freedom of expression and speech.
Well, then maybe we should put it on there.
You are correct.
I do
don't have a
believe the
right to
author
carry-
is telling
we
the
don't have a
truth,
right to
because they
speak
came
like
across
that.
as super lefty.
And remember, when it comes to the U.S. Constitution was written in such a way to prevent groups from the cops from being able to do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Ours is not. Up in Canada, there are things you can do and things you can't. And that's one of the lines you don't dance on. Do I think they should have killed him? Probably not. Do I feel sorry for him? No. If I felt sorry for everybody that did dumb things, I would never leave my apartment again.
It's not about feeling sorry for the guy. It's about the fact that we are now entering into a place in Canada where we are going to have cops not actually investigate a situation first, and they're just going to shoot first based off of people being hyped up. And I get it. They should be protective of your children. You should be, especially when you know the cops aren't going to.
Wait. You think we're just entering that now?
I think it's more than it was before, BG.
Nope. Not even in the
No.
slightest.
This has
Nope.
been an
Nope.
ongoing
Nope.
crisis for decades.
There are so many natives that have been shot for stupid shit that's never been investigated for. I remember there's one kid. He had this mini tomahawk and he was having a mental meltdown at a fucking mall. And he threw it at a cop. Now, it wasn't a very sharp tomahawk, but they shot him dead. And that thing could maybe give you a paper cut. It was like one of those little tomahawks that you find in one of those fake native fucking tourist trap places. He was shot dead for that. There have been so many times where stupid games should find out. Now that one, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Why? And there was a lot of outrage saying, dude, we could have just diffused the situation. You know, you were pretty fucking gun happy there, bud. Did an investigation happen? No. This has been a problem since I was a child. We've always had fucking clap happy cops that are like, hey, I finally get to do something with my life. They've always been around. They've always been here. The natives have been yelling about it for years.
Well, I mean, that's stuff that I can't really speak on, BG. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, up until recently, you didn't have the cameras to call them on it. You know, like, I don't doubt that shit happened. I know that racism does actually exist. I know our cops are probably more racist than they like to admit.
We had the shopping mall security camera tapes.
So, I don't know what else
The
to tell
fact
you.
that the cops shot the kid made the papers.
So what did they go with? Like, they thought the tomahawk was real and didn't know any better and shot him?
The guy said he was violent. He attacked me. I neutralized it. The end. I'm not saying it was a particularly racist cop. What I'm saying is we have had trigger-happy cops
Mhm.
for a long time. And it's not like just now we're entering into a police state where they're just going to shoot first and ask questions later. That's been a thing for a long time.
Yeah, I don't see that as much out here, BG. Like, I mean, our cops, I've seen them rough up the natives a couple times, but uh not as often as what you're describing. Like, I don't see it there in like their area of the province because I've never been there. Like, if I'm traveling through native area, it's because I'm driving through. You know, they've got their regions and stuff. Um, but most of what I hear is through occasional stories. Like, it's not as frequent here, but we have a smaller population than you do, significantly so. So I don't know if that makes a difference.
In a province as a whole, but actually Calgary is bigger than Ottawa.
We also have more cops than you guys do. Like, on a national scale, we have more cops than everybody. So, like, we have too many, actually. That's been a problem for us. It's just having too many of them because they don't communicate with anybody, even each other.
Fair. Although I find too many cops make very pleasant neighborhoods.
Well, you know, I'd say that except for, like, no, they haven't done shit.
Well, yeah, our cops do suck. I mean, I remember when I got a rap on the door saying, there's a kidnapped missing college guy. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, and your phone number was on his phone. And I'm like, wait. You're the RCMP. And they're like, uh-huh. And I'm like, and you think a blind girl on the opposite end of the city, which would have no access to a car, and am as weak and frail as I am, have kidnapped a 6'4" college kid? And I'm like, and you gotta go back to police school?
Well, that's kind of part of the thing I always wonder about with school or with the police. Like, you know, where they really go for the kids that they get or the people that they get to train to become cops. Like, when they do background checks, and I don't know that the school system actually really does this, but, like, it'd be nice if they could put in the records, this kid was known, not so much for the bullying, but the kind of bullying you do. You know, it's one thing to tease a kid to try to, you know, get him to stop being a weird piece of shit, and another thing to prove that you're a malicious bully, you know, or that you can't really understand what leadership is without beating the shit out of somebody, you know, like
Well, most people don't understand what the difference is when they're in school before the age of 18. I can't speak to a whole lot of the cops, but I do know a couple of kids that went to the cop academy because the military didn't want them. And I'm like, oh, you're going to be one of those.
Yeah. And that's kind of part of what I mean. Like, it's not to throw shade at just, like, bullying in general, but, like, if you know somebody has that trait, they don't necessarily really lose it just because they become an adult. It just changes in how they go about doing it. Because you're still an adult. You know, legal laws and shit.
Yeah, but adults engage in certain types of bullying as well. It's just which one is accepted by society and which isn't.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, if it's in your records that you're like that, that might not be a good trait for a cop. Because,
yeah, but
you know,
how many people in that pool do you really have signing up for that? We need cops at some point. You know, how many people are not in that pool that's actually sign up for it? Because it's not like they can conscript cops, right? So, you know, to be fair, I mean,
kind of where you utilize your money properly. Like, get rid of bad cops, hire good ones for more money.
Well, it's all based on who signs up for this stuff as well. You only have so many people to choose from. You know, you're gonna get some bad apples no matter what you do or what policies you enforce. There's always going to be, you know, something or someone or, you know, someone who acts a little unfairly here or a little unfairly there. You're never really going to escape that.
No, but it does stuff to at least make that number go down. You know, it's if it's one of those things where we're never really going to solve the issue because we just don't have enough people, or the job just isn't going to work out that way, you just have to make sure that, like, yeah, you're going to enforce it, and like I said, all the other things that you can do to try to make it better. I don't know, but it's better than just,
Well,
leaving.
I wouldn't say that it's a problem either, though, because I mean, look at this past news incident. Okay,
Mhm.
how many people are in Canada, and how many times does this happen? And if you look at it, it's actually not that many. So I wouldn't
Not
say
until
that.
recently. I'd say recently we've had more people do edgy punk shit like that recently. I'd say the last 5 years is especially so. Is
But
it
even if
frequently?
we've had 12 instead of 10, that doesn't necessarily mean we have a bad pool of cops. It means something has changed, maybe, but on a grand scale, if you look at how many cops are actually out there, and then say you have 15 instances of bad cops, considering how many cops are out there and how many times a day they have interactions with the general public, you have a pretty minimal pool of people that probably shouldn't be a police officer. It's not actually as large as you feel until you really take a step back and look at it.
Bye, Spud Gun.
I wouldn't say things are endemic unless it was happening once a week, once a month.
Well, we're not Chicago, we're not New York, and we're not even London, so
But then if you're saying, well, we're not them, so we can't really go that large. Well, again, like I said, so really in the grand scale of things, the amount of bad cops is actually pretty minimal considering the size of some of our cities.
I'm
I,
saying
I
that
would,
we have a population difference from all these places that's significantly noticeable. And I know that that doesn't mean that much, but I'm saying that it's not that it's a big problem yet. That's why I'd like them to properly investigate the cops and find out if they actually tried to approach the guy somehow a little bit first before they just went pew pew pew. Because if they're not doing at least that much, and as much as I don't appreciate that guy for being dumb and making a dumb joke at a poor time, or making a statement at a poor time, maybe he was doing something wrong. I don't know. But in that article, and they came across as fairly liberal. They seem to be like jerking off to the fact that the cops just shot this guy. It was the part where there wasn't any talk of a proper investigation first. Because
well,
while
of
I
course
want
they
them
would
to do
get
their
you
job,
after that.
you know, that's why I'm like, yeah, make sure they do an investigation, and that's not what they did. Because if we start letting it go down that route, our guys are just gonna go with it.
Well, of course they're jerking off. We're already talking about more gun control
Mhm.
because, quote, the Buffalo shooter is everywhere.
Yeah.
And B, we just had 19 kids to our neighbors to the south die. So of course everybody's like, guns? No, 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 no,
Mhm.
no, 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 no. Now, is it correct to let that affect you in your job, especially in a different country? No. Is it reasonable to expect that it's not going to affect you though? No, because ultimately it will, even if you go, today, I'm not going to let any of the news affect me and how I do my job. Of course not. It is. So it could very well just be, as Blue Rodeo would say, just bad timing. That's all. And so I'm not surprised in the least. I think even those on the right are going to kind of backstep a little bit and go, well, yeah, but we just had that because we're going to think, okay, well, we did just have something fucking major just happen down south and we really don't want to repeat it up here. And it probably scared us a little. And so, maybe just bad timing. I'm not saying it's right, but do I blame everybody? No, I don't. I think it's a human response, if I'm being honest. and cops are human. Now, should they be investigated? Probably. Will they be investigated? Probably not. But the federal arm of the government does whatever Trudeau wants it to do at the moment. So, and I don't think we have a DOJ.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, with that one guy, it might not be a big deal right now, but with the people that we have, this is. I'm hoping it's the one shot. Like, I'm hoping it's the one guy who's just too soon, too early, bad place, bad time. But our guys do have a tendency to take everything that they want out of context.
Correct. And we don't have a Department of Justice to investigate it, or Homeland Security. Now, I'm actually kind of glad we don't, because that's been abused 15 ways to Sunday.
Yeah.
So really, would I rather we have it and be able to investigate like America does, but also take all the shit that it's brought? I'm not so sure. Because again, in the heat of the moment, for something that we're worried about, like, can we not shoot first and ask questions later? I get that concern, but at the exact same time, if we had them, I feel like they would be abused more than they would be used for the correct purpose. So whether there's going to be a big investigation, you're
No.
probably going to be disappointed on that, because
Oh, I know
if
they're
we
not. I
did
know
have-
they're not. Because they already, like I said, that article was jerking. They knew what happened. You know, they're not going to investigate whether or not these cops even talked to the guy or not. They said they just shot him. There was no conversation. They just shot him. So I mean, they'll be going with camera shots and, you know.
Well, and I mean, we can't even figure everything out with camera shots, because we haven't even asked some very important questions yet.
Yeah.
For example, did he have any priors? Did maybe they shoot first because they thought he was going to shoot somebody? Because did they have a reason to suspect that? Was he already in the system? Was he known to police? Did he have any mental health issues, etc., etc., etc.? This is context we're not really going to have. And without it, we can't make much of a judgment. All we can do is just speculate from our cozy chairs.
Well, that and... I mean, I could pull up the shit article, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, did he turn slightly and they think he was going to aim? Did they think he was a Kyle Rittenhouse? What did we ask them what was going on in their mind at the moment? We don't have all of these key important things. How long was he on the street with that gun? Had they been following him a while, or did they literally show up, get out of the car, and shoot? And did that actually happen? Or is that what the news media is telling us actually happened because of all the push for gun control?
They had news reports on it. CDC did it.
Yeah, but I don't trust the CBC. The CBC is very liberal, and they're owned by Trudeau. And Trudeau is pushing more gun control right now. So again, they may have reports, but is it
so
honest?
Then they might have just made up a dude and then shut down 4 schools for no reason. All I know is they shut down 4 schools in Toronto. So
they shut down 4 schools. Why? Because he was shot, or because he was headed towards them?
No, because they had reports of a guy wandering around with a BB pellet gun, and then
I'm
the
glad
cops
they
shot
shut
up
it
and
down because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Like, I mean, if you're gonna check out the dude to make sure he's, you know.
And that's actually, if there were 4 elementary schools near his route of walking, and this school shooting just happened,
I think some of them were high schools, but yeah, pretty much.
Doesn't matter if it's a high school or an elementary school. Same fucking diff. Still a school. And we just had this happen. Tensions are high. Somebody might have just fired quickly because they didn't want to be the one that didn't shoot a guy that was about to go shoot a bunch of kids. Like, that context is important too. The mindset of all these cops just stood out there and did nothing. And now you got a guy with a pellet gun roaming by in a school district. Now I can understand why they took the shot. Do I think it was correct? No. Do I understand why they did it? Kinda.
I just don't like the part in the story where they didn't even approach the guy to see if
Again, we
Nope.
just had 19 kids shot.
I get
So,
that,
why
BG.
would-
I get that, BG. But here's the thing, though. Like, I get that doesn't happen very often, but that doesn't excuse not doing your job still. Like, when you, if a life is lost, even if the guy is a piece of shit, if he wasn't doing anything, like, if all he did was walk around just to be a piece of shit and be like, look, you guys don't even know the difference. They don't even know, they didn't even say anything about the gun being loaded or anything. Like you said, they didn't have any reports on the guy, nothing. I get being sensitive, I get all that stuff. But if
Yeah,
you're not doing at least...
the gun is loaded or not when you even talk to him. That's the thing.
They didn't
And
talk
if
to
it
him, though.
All they saw was a gun near schools, and we just had a
A
big school
pellet
shooter.
gun. The person who reported him even said a pellet gun. Now, I get it, it's a pellet gun, it could still do damage, but you don't think they could have just been like, hey, what the fuck are you doing first?
Considering you can still kill somebody with one of those, and he's near a school district,
With a full unit.
I wouldn't take a chance on it, not after what just happened in Texas.
You wouldn't
Especially
be like,
since-
hey, what the fuck are you doing first? Lay down your weapon?
No, I wouldn't even chance it, but I'm not a cop, and that's probably why. Again, what's going on in their head? I'm not going to be the guy that lets somebody go to shoot another kid. I'm not going to be that fucking idiot cop that didn't do anything when I could have, and he went and shot a kid near schools. No. Like, cops are humans. They're not perfect, but I can guarantee you at least one of them probably thought, I'm not going to be the fucking guy that every parent wants to fucking kill because I didn't take out somebody with a gun near a school.
Then we can't complain about trigger-happy cops all the time. Because that's how you get trigger-happy cops.
It is, but it's not even been a week yet since we just had 19 kids shot
Yeah,
dead.
a day after the Las Vegas shooting. Like I said, guy walked around, rifle on his back, 2 guns in his on his holsters. Went around to a bunch of bars just to be a dick. He had no intentions of doing anything. He just was being a dick. And when people confronted him
and the
on it, he
cops
was just like,
don't
I'm being a
know.
dick.
And those cops, okay, they cooled themselves. But you can't expect that from everybody. Not all the time.
The badge.
Like, just because they have a badge doesn't mean they're not people.
Then that explains entirely why they were willing to spray you in the face too. Like, there's a sense where you have to expect something at least a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to be, it could be anybody next with a joke.
Not necessarily, because A, we just had a school shoot, so doing that as a joke is not a joke. That's not a fucking joke.
It is a joke. It's not a joke you like. It's still a joke. That's what freedom is. You were just arguing with me on freedom of speech.
Yes,
You
freedom
don't
of
like
speech,
certain
freedom
jokes.
of
I don't like
expression.
certain jokes. It was still a
Yeah,
joke.
but here's
Well,
the
we don't
thing.
even know if it
That-
was a joke.
But
Because
when
the
you're-
cops didn't ask. They didn't talk
Yeah,
to the guy. He could have been doing all the things that you're saying, but we don't know because they didn't talk to the guy.
He right away broke the law just by bringing that gun outside. That's not a joke. That's breaking the law. Period. He already broke the law when he walked outside with it. And what his intentions were don't matter at that point. And they don't know what his intentions are, but they know what they're not going to let him do. And that is use it on any other kids because we just lost 19. And I wouldn't let the premise of a joke be why I didn't stop him. Do I think they should have killed him? No. Do I understand why they did? Yes. Do I necessarily think it means they're going to just shoot everybody with a gun? No. I think right now, everybody emotions are high and every cop is going, I wouldn't want to be that cop. And while emotions are that high, I am not surprised he got shot. Especially in Canada. After 19 kids are dead. We all know that Texas cops just stood around and didn't do their fucking job. You really think one of those cops want to live with the idea that because it might have been a joke, they didn't do what they had to do and somebody got hurt with a gun in Canada?
I'm just saying that a couple of years ago, some dipshit shot up a mosque, and then a couple days later, in a crowded Ontario, some asshole decided to walk around with the biggest dark black face. And the next time some guy does that, he's gonna get shot. Because you know what? No one even confronted the guy to see if there was something wrong with him. They don't know. They don't know if he's carrying anything. He was just like, well, obviously he was mentally ill because he was doing that. This is what I know that you're upset because 19 kids have died, and I get that. I am not walking on them. I'm talking about cops not even doing a basic job. I'm not appreciative of the guy's joke, even if it was a joke. We don't even know if it was a joke. I don't like the idea of trigger happy people going around with guns with a badge. And I get it. Maybe they were sensitive. But I would like them to be investigated to find out if they even talked to the guy. Because if they can't handle that, they can't be on the force. Because
maybe not
they
at
can't.
this moment. Maybe you're right. Like, my emotions aren't high. I'm simply attempting to reasonably deduce the other side of the argument.
With a dead guy and 19
Yes.
kids that are dead, that are not even in the same category, because they both cops didn't do their jobs. Both
You may
cops didn't do
very
their
well
jobs.
be correct. You may very well be correct.
And it doesn't justify either things, because their jobs weren't being done. That's what I have a concern with, BG. I get that everyone's
I'm
hyped
not-
up because kids are dead, but if you're hyped up that kids are dead so much that you can't even do your job, then everyone's going to get shot, because we can't do that.
Well, not necessarily. Just don't walk around with a gun.
Oh yeah, don't make a poor joke that some people don't like because they can't even talk to you,
just
or you know.
Don't
Because
Don't break the
people
law.
up
How about
here,
that
people
one?
up here have a mental illness problem. Do you know how many people I walk by on the street? You should be seeing this too. You live in Ottawa. How many people
Yes,
here have
people do
mental
have-
illness? And you're like,
Yes,
it's
they
illegal. This
do.
guy could have been just mentally stupid. He could have
Yes, he
been
could have been.
mentally stupid, and I get it. That's why he should get shot, because in his moment of being an idiot and trying to, we don't know.
No, we
Maybe
don't.
he deserves to
And
be shot.
We don't.
But
look
they
after
could
our
have
mental
talked to
ill
him
either.
for 2 seconds and be like, no, and then shot him. I would have been okay with that. But no talking at all?
Maybe they
Wait,
didn't
what if
think
he was
they
just
had time.
handicapped? What if he was just handicapped?
What if? These are a lot of speculative what
I know,
ifs,
right?
and we don't have enough answers. We really don't. I mean, what if? Okay, we don't deal with our mentally ill properly either. Do I think he should be shot for it? No. Do I think it was really fucking bad timing? Yes. But cops are humans too. And I don't think that this means they're just going to go around trigger happy. I think things are going to calm down, as they always do. And they'll be more diligent as it does.
Kind of like
As long
they
as
have
people
been
don't
since,
start
kind of
pushing
like
more
they
gun
have been
control.
since the trucker event. It hasn't been,
Yeah.
BG.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I wouldn't put this in the same kind of. I mean, the trucker event has people riled up too. I mean,
That's
people
just one
think that.
event. That's just the start of it. It's kind of been like that everywhere. Like, we haven't been focusing on that anymore. And we shouldn't, because trucker event is done. It's the little spots that come up everywhere else where there's still stuff happening. Like, I can't focus on everything because it's just, there's no point. And they're
Well,
not big
there's-
events anyway.
But I wonder, because I mean, there's always going to be stuff happening.
Well, yeah.
There's always going to be something. Always. And the way things are hyped up right now, there's going to be bad things that happen. It's whether we can keep our heads and think rationally about it or get emotional about it.
Which our cops are willing to do.
No, I think cops get emotional too often. But then again, they are humans. And even though they're trained to be cops, they're still human.
Yeah, I get that, but
Let's see. Did we chase everybody off with that debate there? Yes, we did.
oh, we chased off 2 people.
Hey, Credible Threat. Hey, Scotty. Hey, Red. Hey, Spud Gun. I'm out later's all. I'm sorry, I didn't notice you, Spud Gun. Who is Spud Gun, and how did we get a new person?
He
That's like-
knows me from Minions.
That is cool.
I'll-
All right, Spud Gun. I'm trying to add moderator. There we go.
I told people if they wanted to see what I look like, they gotta catch me on Fridays.
Ah,
Just like, well, you know, I'm like trying to advertise for your channel. Like, oh, you know.
yeah, that was a long debate, ladies and gentlemen. I
No,
hope
don't get
it
me
was
wrong. I do
entertaining.
still think this guy was a piece of shit. Like, I could see beating the crap out of him for it. Like, don't do stupid shit during bad times, dipshit. If that was
Yeah.
if that was the punishment, I would be for that. Because there are stupid
Oh,
people who do stupid jokes at a bad time. I don't appreciate every joke either. There's just, you know, like there's times when you just don't do a thing. At least wait 22 days, okay? Or 22 years, I think, is what the old way it was, 22 years. But, you know, people can't last 22 days without forgetting what happened 22 days ago.
This is fair. This is fair. Trucker's still here. That's good.
Yeah, but I was actually getting ready to hop off.
Oh,
Yeah, it is
sure.
after 6.
fine. Well, it's after 8 for us.
Yeah.
After 8 's
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you wanna chill for yourself a little bit then before you go, Trucker? Like we're not gonna be on for much longer. I mean, we're almost at the 2-hour mark.
I ain't
at
got
least. You got
I
nothing.
ain't got nothing going on these days.
No birthdays.
Aren't you a
no
TikTok shill?
Do what now?
TikTok?
Aren't you a TikTok guy?
A what talk guy?
TikTok?
A TikTok guy? A TikTok shill?
TikTok?
All right, one puff. Wow,
Oh.
this is fast.
Pump,
This is a
pumpkin underscore trucker at TikTok or on TikTok.
There you
okay.
go.
Half a puff.
You gotta reset up for your,
Yeah, my
trucking streams again, you know?
I'll get there one of these days. So, unfortunately, but I haven't been talking much because my signal sucks where I am. I'm surprised I have a signal to be on here at all.
Well, we were arguing
So,
about semantics, so it's fine.
Oh, I've been
Alright.
listening.
Sometimes those little
I've been
things really
listening
matter
'cause I
to
have
me.
no position on it. Well, the thing is, yeah, I haven't been saying much because I ain't got no position on it. Because my position would be if I saw somebody like that, the cops. Do I think the cops have a set of rules they need to follow before they can shoot the guy? Yes. Would I follow those rules? Not a chance in hell. But that's why I'm not a cop.
And that's just it. Like, I respect that too. You know, I do have a lot of respect for the cops because I understand that that is the hardest choice. You know, having to be brave enough to hold off killing a dude who probably deserves having their ass handed to them at the very least. You know, I know cops that confront some of the worst people on the planet. There are people that I know they meet where I just wish they could beat them up. I know it's not justified, but there's that part of me that's like, yeah, this guy's a piece of shit. Just beat him up. I don't think it works though. It doesn't. I don't necessarily know that necessarily works. It's just,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Ew.
But,
Holy crap. You
What?
weren't wrong. This is fucking strong as shit.
told ya. I told ya. I did tell you.
All right, have fun, guys. 3:30
You
comes
too.
early.
Have a good
Bye,
evening.
Tucker.
Try to take it easy.
Oh, trust me, within 5 minutes, I'm going to be asleep.
Take it very
Mm.
easy then.
I'm old, and I'll be in. Chances are, I'll be awake before you go to bed, Jen.
No, because I work tomorrow, so I start at 6 in the morning.
What time will you be going to bed?
Well, it is 6:15 right now, so probably within. It depends on whether or not my brain will work with me. Usually I'm in bed by 8:30, but sometimes my brain argues with me and I go to bed at 9:30. I shouldn't, but my brain's like, fuck you, Jen.
Okay, I don't want to hear.
Ah.
Okay, no comment about that then, because it's 8:30 now. Or close to 8:30. I'm getting ready to go to bed because I got to be up at 3:30 to be rolling by 4.
No,
I
I
gotta
envy
kill
you
me.
for that. I envy you for that. Because I try to do that. I try. And sometimes my brain's just like, did you want to sleep? I'm going to think about stupid shit.
I love myself. I get up at 7.
You know what I mean, Tracker? It's done it to you before.
I know. It's all good. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Tucker.
Everyone in the
Wow.
chat, you know what I mean.
Oh,
You've
wow.
all been ready to go to sleep and your brain just decides, you know what? I'm going to think about absolutely random shit for no reason. That argument you had with that grade school kid from like 30 years ago that you half forgot. You're like, why am I thinking about this? This is so irrelevant to me. I'm going to sleep. No, you're not. Well, you're going to think about this now. Why? Sea turtles. That's the answer, BG. Think about sea turtles. Because they're cute.
I was gonna pet sea turtles, and then I got high.
Yeah, you did say it was pretty good.
I was gonna shove straws up their nose, then I got high.
Also, turtles have wicked mouths. I know that's sea turtles. I don't know if all the turtles have that, but the shards, the amount of shards that they have, that must be the sea turtles because they have
Now
them for
they're in
fish.
my soup, and I know why. Yeah,
That is
'cause I got high.
one of those animals I'm going to say no to. You know, I don't know what it is about turtles, but I'm opposed to eating them. They're probably normal and tasty. Like I've heard people who are like, yeah, it's fine. I'm just like, no. They're too cute. I'm sorry. You live
I want
turtle
to try the turtle. Because when I was a little girl, which apparently happened a long time ago, okay, there was a turtle, and I went, "Come here, cute turtle, 'cause you're cute." And then the turtle went nom, and I said, "Ow!" And that really sucked.
Yeah.
So I really want to try sea turtle, and if I ever get the chance to have turtle soup, I will
Don't do
smile.
sea turtle. Sea turtle's different.
Oh, why? Wait, do sea turtles taste crunchy or something?
No, sea turtles are endangered. Like super endangered. They're the ones who
so
have the
maybe
billion
they'll be like-
babies who barely make it to the ocean, and maybe 2 of them survive.
Oh wow, that's so man, it would be like a rare dish.
No, it would be illegal. You would be fined more money than your child is worth. And you would
That's
feel
only
guilty.
if I got caught. That's only if I got caught. But
No,
see,
you
I
would get caught.
Man,
You would get caught.
you're saying you'd rat me out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I sure would.
well, that's no fun.
Because there's so many humans replacing themselves who've already screwed over enough nature. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm siding with the turtles.
Oh, yeah, fuck that.
I know, right?
I think, okay, the dinosaurs probably made extinct so much fucking shit, okay, that if I make something extinct, I'm not gonna feel bad.
Yeah, but they also there's a good chance they also made themselves go extinct multiple times because they did that.
Well, yeah, but that's because their brains weren't like people brains where they had forethought. Like, maybe we should stop doing this thing so we don't, like, die.
Mm-hmm. Save the sea turtles. They're cute. Also, save
And
the
then-
orangutans because I have this secret plan to someday go and get some orangutans, and I'm going to teach them to be super smart because I think orangutans taking over the planet and teaching us how to be just like chill would be amazing. Because orangutans are smart as shit, but they're chill. Like, they're more chill than us. I believe our ancestors
Yeah.
came from something more like a chimp because we're just angry all the fucking time.
Well,
Unreasonably
I
angry all
mean,
the fucking time.
aren't orangutans like orangey?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Think about Baloo's friend. I can't remember the song. It was so long ago.
No, I'm just thinking that means every single orangutan you ever meet is a soulless ginger.
I mean, there's a joke about that, you know, something to do with like freckles and stuff, but I don't necessarily believe that. I did hear this rumor one time, and I am talking slang about gingers, and I don't mean it. It is probably just a rumor, but something to do with gingers being a sign of being more in relation to cavemen. Yeah,
Cave?
men,
So cavemen were gingers.
like Neanderthals.
Oh, so they're all from Scotland.
No, that's also that's a different rumor, but I wouldn't doubt that that's part of it. You got to understand that Scotland and England used to be a part of the mainland. Do you know what they called the stretch of land between them and France? It's called Doggerland.
Their penis?
No.
Oh.
The shit under the water, it's called Doggerland. It's
Oh.
one of those things, if you ever want to find some interesting documentaries, like, I don't know if you're into that kind of shit, but like when they do water scrubs through that area, they find so much petrified fossils because of the landscape between where France and England connects. Because there's a, you know, like, people were on England. How did they get there? It used to be connected. There are people on England who watched the water recede, just disappear as, water crept up, and oh my god, we're on an island. There goes the mainland and everything in between. They do documentaries on it all the time. They have different theories. Like, some of them think it came in a rush. Some people think it was like over a couple of years. It just slowly crept up and up and up and up and up and up. And then you got this big fucking ocean. But everything that was there at the time, like if you had mammoths, if you had woolly
They
mammoths.
took the stupid ones, okay? They just took the stupid ones and pushed them off the island.
See, Credible Threat knows what I'm not saying it right though, but you know what I meant. Doggerland. Yeah, Doggerland.
Oh my
I just thought
God,
it was fun.
Cannibal Threat.
I love saying it.
Are you a redhead? You're a redhead, aren't you? I know it. You're a ginger. Canada and Scotland have the same mountain chain.
We technically do. Like, there are mountains with similar minerals, like similar stones and minerals that we have. So they think there's a thread that goes up between, but like, we did used to connect. Once upon a time, there was this place called Pandora, or at least I think that's what they called the main continent before it broke off into chunks all over the place.
And it was in a box?
Yeah. I'm very bad at this stuff. Like, I remember watching these over and over and over again, but I don't do any credit to the people who taught me.
Credible Threat, you being a bald head used to have hair on it, so does that mean you're a ginger? If you want to know who I look like, Google Tom
Pangea.
Shanklin. I'm like him, but with darker hair.
Yep, that was the one. I always get it a little bit backwards. It's like Pandora, something that sounded like that, But it allows me to remember what I'm kind of talking about when I'm doing it. I might forget the name of what I'm talking about, but, I know what I'm talking about. I swear.
Red says Pangea.
Yep. Pangea. Gaia, something like that. I'm not good at pronouncing Fufu-Shishi names, but I got what they meant, and I knew what they meant. Yeah, I watch a lot of documentaries. I'm not very good at reiterating without like something written down. Next time I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like that kind of stuff. It makes us feel more connected, you know, like how did this get over here? How did that get over there? Why did this go extinct at this time? Well, you know, it's one of those things
Yeah.
where, and I'm not meaning to blame the left. I don't even think it's necessarily the left. It's the people that like to want to make us fight with each other. There's that underlying thing where they like to forget that, like, they want to blame our species. Like, it's not just white people, but like our species in general for every bad thing that's ever happened on this planet. And one of the things that, like, I learned that I always kind of thought was kind of cute and kind of interesting is, you know, it wasn't just like plants and birds and bees and things that spread shit. You know, monkeys did a lot to fruit the world. You know, it's one of those Asian quotes about monkeys dropping fruit seeds everywhere because they eat it or they, you know, they poop it. Or they travel with it and they plant it because sometimes they hide stuff and forget it, like they're squirrels. You know, like we do break trees, we do damage and stuff like that, but we also recreate the world as we go. Like, we're not too different from monkeys and beavers in that sense. So no, we're not the cause of everything bad on the planet. We're the cause of most things bad for us on the planet and a lot of our neighbors. That's, you know.
What if you don't have neighbors?
Then it's to yourself.
Well, that's good. That means you're better than most of the humans. You have a lot of memes.
I love memes. Oh, did you go through it?
Okay. Oh, I don't know.
I planted a whole bunch of new ones. I was like monkeypox, the 11 people who still believe the media.
Oh my God, there was an article for the Canada,
Yeah.
and they were like, social distancing and mask will help you not get smallpox. And I'm like, fuck off. No, fuck you. God damn it.
These are the most manipulative people on the planet. That's not how you get it. And so the people who are spreading it are still going to spread it because they're misinformation spreading everywhere. Because they want everyone to wear a mask. Why do you want everyone up here to wear a mask? Is our face so offensive to you, Trudeau?
No, it's because you'll save on healthcare.
I think it's because they want us to spend money on overpriced masks that don't do shit.
Yep.
Like, that's why I don't wear one anymore. I mean, I do at work. It's just on occasion I've been allowed to drop it. You know, some of the managers don't care as much as other managers. So some managers I wear it all the time, and other managers I'm like, you know what? You know, eventually they're gonna relax this, and then everyone's gonna not wear them anymore, right?
This is
But
true.
I do actually still kind of appreciate it, like I said, for the soap pile. I still do. It does help when I'm legit. There's a potential I could sneeze something that's gross. I'm like, you know what? That works for that. I don't want to wear it for 4 hours though. Not after I've sneezed, because I'm not going to sneeze again. There's only ever one or two, and I know when they've done. And you know, I take the mask off. I'm fine after that because I don't want to wear it anymore. That's gross.
Not.
Yeah, it's gross. They probably are overstocked with masks. They probably are.
Hey, what if monkeys pick their nose?
They do.
And chimpanzees?
Yep.
What about the gingers?
Everyone has the potential to pick their nose. It's whether or not they keep doing it. I mean, I don't mean to, but I have allergies. So sometimes I'm like, can you fucking move so I can blow my nose and not feel like I've got to bust up my nose. I think there was a Red Dwarf joke that it's the only one I really kind of remember from that show. And it was because this guy kept looking into his Kleenex after he'd blow his nose. He was like, do you need to do that? Like, are you trying to check what's in there? And I'm like, I don't necessarily do that. I just want to know the fuckers out of my nose. That's my concern. I just want the thing out of my nose. And then I can throw that shit away and wash my hands and not deal with it anymore. But is it a truck? I don't know. Have you ever had a truck up your nose, BG? Do you have allergies?
No.
No? You lucky girl. I mean, you got a lot of other shit, so maybe not. Allergies.
Okay, they also picked their ass. Thanks, Dread. Thank you. So whatever the fuck this train is called, I want it all the time.
Super glue.
I've decided. It's super and it's glue.
Right? Ah, that's a nonsensical note. It's one of those things I have a struggle with at work, because we sell a lot of like. So the hardware section gets to me. I used to be an art student. It's one of those things where I will twitch with little ideas or think, will I actually do that? And then I walk through the hardware section. I'm like, ooh, if I could just get some glue, you know, maybe one of the, Monkey Glue has the hot glue, and I was like, maybe I could work on a project or something. I just don't know what I want to do. And then I walked through their section. I'm like, they have glow in the dark glue. Did you know they have glow in the dark glue, BG? It comes in different colors, like yellow and blue and pink, and there's sparkly glue. There's
Why?
metallic
you don't see
glue.
the glue.
I don't know.
I mean, once you stick the two things together, you don't fucking see it anymore.
I think the glow in the dark glue is more for signs. Like I could see people using that over like pen and ink to just make some like a sign glow in the dark.
Oh, right. But that's not using glue for glue. I mean, you might as well just have a fucking gel pen at that point. Why do you need it to be the glue?
I don't know. I thought I think on the bottle too, it works on clothing too. So that one I kind of understood. I was like, okay, it's a mixed glue. Like, you use it on fabric, you use it on. But well, if you were making like a design with it on your clothing, like, it's not to glue something else on, it's so that your shirt has words on it or something. I don't know. Whatever creative shit they're making for the kids nowadays. I just remember our projects were like tie-dye, Save all
Oh,
your...
Jesus, Elowen, fuck. No.
Oh, no. But that would be funny. That would be a good trick to play on somebody that you really don't like. If you're a college kid and you're like, I really hate those people, I'm gonna switch out their glue for some glue that glows in the dark.
Imagine having to rip those lips apart.
I mean, you would notice the flavor if you were doing that. I should hope. Unless you're the kind of weirdo who ate glue as a kid. I knew kids. You did too.
Yeah.
Did you actually? I don't know if you did. I know I'm accusing you. It's just I assume everyone knew at
Wait.
least one kid who did.
Who did what?
Ate glue. Or tried to.
Oh. No. I
No?
don't know anybody that tried to eat glue. No. Sniffing it to get high, yes.
Okay.
Eating it, no.
I knew both. More of the eaters than the sniffers. Like the middle school that I had some kids who were just willing to do any dare multiple times. Not just once. They never really quite caught on that you only really need to do a dare once.
Okay, wait. What about whiteout? Because whiteout gave you a better high than glue. And I mean, I wouldn't
Sniffing
have
it,
had to
yes.
have been
Eating
dared
it,
to
no.
do it. I would have just naturally done it. Like sniffing permanent markers back in the day before they made them smell better. Oh, that was a nice strong one too. I mean, I never did such things as a child.
Yeah, sniffing it, yes. Like I knew kids who took whiteout because they came with I know when they kind of switched over to those little sponge spreaders, like they switched from the little brushes to the sponges. And I knew kids who would use the sponge one to sniff with because it was easier to hold on to the whiteout. I didn't hang out with those kids. I just knew they did it.
May not have sniffed wet out in school.
Well, I don't
Well,
think
'cause-
I don't think the teachers really caught on to what they were doing. They were just like, well, I guess maybe they just like sniffing it. It never occurred to teachers that the kids were getting high off of it. Not here. Like a lot
Oh,
of
it did in our school. They banned whiteout because they're like, "Nah," and we're like, what about the glue? And they're like, well, the teacher's watching you. And I'm like, not all the time, shit. Man, okay, we had in the gym the gymnastics climber thing day, and there was ropes to the ceiling. And so one day, me and a bunch of people grabbed our Solulant of choice and snorted for a good 10 minutes and then tried to climb the rope. Now that was a good day.
the Incredible
What else
Threats
got you the higher?
said the weirdest thing he's ever seen somebody eat was a melted lemon and lavender candle wax. I'm like,
Wow.
I mean, at least that one I can understand being somewhat like food because of the lemon, but the lavender would have made me think of soap. I know lavender can go into certain kinds of baked goods, but it still kind of reminds me of soap.
Soap.
Yeah, soap. My mom
Yeah.
uses a lot of lavender. It's one of those things where she's like, well, it soothes me. It helps me sleep at night. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't mind it. It's just,
Lavender. The smell of dead people.
yeah, it's overpowering. I think that's why it's the scent of dead people.
And because they would put lavender on the dead people.
I don't know that they did.
Yeah, they did.
Did they?
Lavender was the dead people smell.
Well, at least it wasn't lilacs, because that's going to be me next week, because I've got like maybe 3 days before ours blossom, and then you're going to see me next week being like, my nose is half of my face, BG. I have purple grapes that look very pretty outside. Yeah,
I ate a dog biscuit once too.
the dog biscuit. I was dared as a small child to eat one of those, they didn't have them at the time. This was pre-era to the bacon strips, but it was like
Oh yeah.
similar context. Like it was like a beef strip. But in all honesty, it was just kind of a really shitty flavored beef jerky. Like it just tasted like beef jerky, but with like medical stuff added to it. So it was gross. I wouldn't eat more of it. It didn't kill me.
Okay. Do you remember the generic dog treats? One
Mhm.
was like a red triangle, one was like a green oval, and like
Yeah.
they were all different shapes and colors.
Yeah.
Those were tasty.
Like I'm not saying you should eat dog food ever. It's one of those Fallout things where I'm joking about, zombies again, but yeah. It wasn't the worst thing to be dared on, is all I'm saying. Like, for dares that you do to a kid, that wasn't the worst one. If it had actually been dog kibble, which I have also tried dog kibble, yet again, really, really young, that one was nasty. Because it's all crumbly and shit. And like, so it gets in your mouth more. It's harder to get rid of the flavor.
And onions.
Yeah.
Don't forget onions, Owen. Sprouts.
Dog buttons. Sprouts are unique. I don't exactly hate them because they remind me of cabbages, but like intense cabbages, like a little bit too intense. So it's just one of those things where you gotta mellow out the intense cabbage flavor. Otherwise, I don't hate them. But there's too many people who don't know how to cook them because they require thought and effort. Like
Thought
bacon.
and effort.
Bacon. Thought and effort, bacon.
And
So one of my mom's recipes that I adore, that I will steal in the future, when I decide to, is to take the sprouts and literally tear them apart so their leaves are individual. Like you got to cut them to the point and, individually take them apart. And then you cook your bacon, right? And then you take your bacon off, and then you cook your Brussels sprouts that have been peeled, and you cook them in the pan. And you might throw in some onions with this too, but not everybody's an onion fan. I've learned that from Mr. Adam, but I like to throw onions in there because I'm like that. Sometimes I throw garlic because I'm extra. Ooh. But then you throw it in the pan, you cook it in the bacon fat, so your Brussels sprouts taste like bacon. And then you take your bacon and you cut it up, and then you add it to it, so it's got extra bacon. And then I'm a little extra, so I like to do other things to make it better. So my mom throws a little bit of like pecan crumble on top of it. I like to do that too. And then I like to add a little bit of cayenne pepper because it's, right at this point it's a little bit sweet, a little bit savory. The cayenne just kind of cuts it a little bit, or you can use other spices, whatever hot spice you like. It's really good. Really good. Some people use a little bit of apple cider with it. You can do that too. It just makes it sweet, so it's like sweet, savory, and then spicy. But bacon,
Bacon.
right?
Yes.
Also a little extra. You don't have to do this, but this is taking your dish from something that was kind of laughing at being healthy because it had Brussels sprouts in it. But I know you're a cheese person, so if you've got a little bit of grated like Parm or Asiago, like sprinkle a little bit of that on there too. Yeah. I'm all about the extra.
Cheese.
Right? Cheese, bacon, makes everything a little bit better. Not lots of it. You don't need, you can always add lots of it, just you don't have to. I'm going to get fat again if I keep talking like this.
I'm 142 pounds. I'm ashamed.
Don't be ashamed. It's summer. You'll lose most of it running around after Jack. Maybe. Partially. Yeah. It's summer.
Yep.
It's already 20. Well, it was 21 today. I was like, I was expecting half partially cloudy. I was like, where's that cloudy kicking in? It was 21. I'm not used to that yet. Like, that's still like pity weather in Canada. Like, that's still cool weather.
Yeah. Today was 30.
It takes a week, BG. Like, I don't even have a week and I'm already like, I hate heat. If it could just stay at like 18, I'd be fine. But you really kind of need like 20 to 22 to swim, so, I guess I'll be fair to kids.
Yep.
Why can't they handle like colder water? I remember when I was a kid, I used to jump into stuff and then I was like shrieking because I'm like, fuck this noise. But then I stuck it out. I was like, that's not that bad. Sure, my mom always pulled me out after a while, like, you're gonna freeze in there, get the hell out of there. But, like, you stay in there for at least a good 20 minutes, like, arguing with yourself, I'm warm enough. This is fine if I just keep splashing people, like my parents.
Exactly.
Jack gets it, you get it.
Oh, I totally get it.
Anyway, we probably should end the stream. I think people keep winding back in because we're still going and stuff.
Yeah, they're probably just like, what the fuck?
Well, that or maybe other people aren't doing stuff right now. That's a possibility. No, Sinatra's still bitching about you know what? If Sinatra's still bitching about Amberlynn Reed, then nothing's going on.
You're not wrong.
No offense to Sinatra. I still like him. I don't want to hear about Amberlynn Reed anymore. I don't really care. If she drops dead from a heart attack, I'll be like, well, I feel bad for you, but I do. You can only get
Wilson, shut up. Sorry, I had to yell at Wilson. He's trying to hump my foot again.
You're good. He's been actually quiet today. For him.
Wilson, can you say hi to everybody?
Meow.
Nothing? Just a grump?
Yep.
Okay.
You got fed already?
Fuck you then. Yeah, he's just like, and I'm like, okay, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. All right. Poor kitty. How does he like the weather? Oh my god, I can just imagine.
I have an air conditioner, so he doesn't give a shit.
Never mind. That's all good.
Yeah, he's along here, right? Like he's my sentient feather duster, so I don't want him to get overheated, you know?
So one of the things that you probably can't do to him, but I would totally do if I ever see your cat. But when they're laying on your kitchen floor and they're just kind of laying on their side like bloop, is to take your hand and put it just on their head and one on their butt and just spin them. And you just spin them. And then you stop. And you watch them slowly get up and look at you like, what the fuck was that about? Because sometimes
I
they-
used to do that to Jemima.
did you? Yeah, she probably loved it too.
Yeah, actually, her favorite was the Coke box. I'd spin her around super duper fast, and then she'd be like, "I'm drunk."
Yeah, cats like fun stuff. They're weird like that. Not all of them, but honestly, if they don't want something like that, they will let you know. They will let you know. Don't ever do that again.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, we should peace out because I keep saying that too. So we will be back on Monday, right? We're good for Monday.
Yes. Yeah, we're good. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. If I am late at all, I'm gonna blame my mom because she's coming over after 10 to like argue about my house. You know, parents,
Yeah, that's fair.
old sassy parents. But she's coming at 10, so hopefully she's not staying so long that I have her till 4, because that would drive me nuts.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah. All right, so I will see you all later, and we will all see you all later. And Trucker left early, so he will see you later, but he's sleeping right now, and hopefully he's actually asleep, and I didn't get the thoughts in his head, because that's funny. And may nothing bad happen between now and then. We got 4 days, BJ. 4 days,
Yeah.
nothing bad.
That's fair. 4 days.
Nothing bad. Can we do it for 4 days? Probably. We probably could. And I hope that Monday's going to be a good day. Because if Monday's a good day, I'm going to come on here being like, Johnny Depp won, Johnny Depp won. I know that's not the most important thing in the world, but it is to me right now. Okay. All right. Bye, guys. And outro.